Hello, once again for our local to global series. This is the Random Wrestling Review, and we are now in mid 1998 after the last episode was very, very interesting indeed. Apologies, I've got a bit of a croaky throat today, so apologies. Hopefully, that will hold up as we go on. And as you can see here, Rocco Rock and Dwayne Johnson are both leaving the company very soon. In fact, Dwayne Johnson, I can negotiate for 3 more days. Is that? I thought he was exclusive now with his new company. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, he's made it clear when his current deal expires. But it suggests that that was my fault, or that he doesn't want to stay with us rather than he can't stay with us, which is the difference with Rocco Rock. Whatever the case, both of those people are leaving the company. In the next few days. We do have a show before then, thankfully, to put on. It is very, very soon indeed. It is tonight, in fact, RWR Unforgiven. But yeah, both of them are going to need to be written out of the company on that show. So we'll get to that as soon as possible. Before we look at that, though, in any real detail, let's take a look at the rankings, because currently Dave Bautista is our champion. He has 8 points currently. Not that points really matter when you're the champion, but it's just nice to have the record. And now the new top two contenders for the title are Johnny Grunge and Buddy Wayne. They each have 5 points. Obviously, Johnny Grunge, one half of the tag team championship duo of Public Enemy, and Buddy Wayne, the former and first RWR Northwest champion, has built himself back up towards the top of the rankings. Just below them, Dog and Rose, Bad Crew on 4 points each. C.W. Anderson, Kid Chaos, Barry Buchanan, James Storm, and Sean Stasiak each have 3 wins, 3 points. Charlie Haas has 2 points, ECMO 1 point, and then at the bottom, Dwayne Johnson, Keith Hart, Rocco Rock, and A Still all have 0 points. That is because Dwayne Johnson lost his first match in the company and obviously will now be leaving. Keith Hart has yet to debut, though will be debuting on this show, and Rocco Rock and A Still were involved in the triple threat match with Batista for the title on the last show, and as they both came up short, they both now get reset to 0 points. And that's where we are. And it is now time to book this next show. Now I've sat myself down and decided upon the matches for this show, but not necessarily the order or any of the angles that are going to go in between it all. So it might be a bit of thinking to do here. Let's start with the matches that we set in motion last time around. So obviously Keith Hart came out to confront ECMO about what happened to Bruce Hart the previous month, and he challenged him to this match, Keith Hart versus ECMO. Don't know if this is going to be the main event, although I guess it's about as big a match as we've got, other than maybe the tag team title match, which we're going to do on this same show. So, and also, I don't actually know the end to this. I don't really know what we're going to do as a finish. I think, I think we're going to have to go with um, a reasonably short match, which I think we're going to have. Um, I think we're going to have ECMO. I think I might have Keith Hart win, but by DQ, maybe an intentional DQ finish, or one. And I tend to think of intentional DQ as not just being kind of intentionally getting disqualified, but I also tend to think of it as like not caring about being disqualified. So basically, what the idea here is that ECMO will just get a chair, get in the ring, and then hit Keith Hart with it, and knock him down. So that's going to be how this one goes. Um, and I think what we are going to do after that is have an angle where ECMO is going to hurt Keith Hart until Bruce Hart makes the save. So this is kind of the follow-on from what was taking place the previous month, and obviously we've got in the next two shows. In fact, is our double header of the Super Summer tag team extravaganza, which I can never remember the name for because I made it deliberately ridiculously long. I've already decided that Keith and Bruce Hart are going to enter that as a tag team, so that will be an added interesting thing for that um, for that tournament. Now let's put in the tag team match because we said we knew that we were going to do that for definite last time, I think, and we have to do it because the Public Enemy, of course, the tag team champions, Rocco Rock is leaving us, so we have to find new tag team champions here. This was not planned. I was going to have I was going to have the Public Enemy win this match. And actually, this not only was going to win this match, it was going to be the end of the feud between these two teams. And bar one or two additional shows, I was going to allow Bad Crew to basically be gone from the company. As it is, they are now going to be our tag team champions because they are the team in position to do so. So, talk about a stay of execution for them. We're also going to book the match that we put off from last month, which was C.W. Anderson and Charlie Haas's latest collision. I think this will be their third singles match now. So they went to a time limit draw, then C.W. Anderson won. This one, unsurprisingly, we're going to have Charlie Haas win. Don't need either man to move up the rankings too much at this point. And I wanted to keep this reasonably balanced between them. I have got something in mind for them to come in the future as well. So then to the other three matches that I'm going to book for this one. And the first is a tag team match, which will pit Dave Bautista and James Storm against Buddy Wayne and Kid Chaos. And make it 12 minutes. I think this one is going to be James Storm, and he's going to pin Kid Chaos. So obviously this continues the James Storm and Buddy Wayne feud, Kid Chaos feud, sorry. But also Buddy Wayne is one of Dave Bautista's main challengers for that title now. Is they're kind of almost in conflict as well. So I'm just mucking about with the order here to get it into the order I now want it, which is the downside of trying to book the most important matches first. What we're going to do with this tag team match, though, is afterwards we're going to have Dave Bautista, James Storm. Bautista saying that this was a tryout for the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza, and they announce their entry. So basically, the match was a tryout for the two of them to see whether being a tag team would work. It's worked pretty well because they've won the match, and so this is them announcing that they will now compete alongside one another at the tournament, which is a big deal because the tournament is a big deal. It's one of the big events in our calendar. And I'm looking forward. This will be the second one, obviously, that we've done. We're also going to have Dwayne Johnson and his nice guy character make his final appearance, having only just really debuted. Shame it had to happen, but sometimes that's just how it goes. And in this one, Barry Buchanan's going to get the win. Dwayne Johnson's going to have lost both of his matches in the company. Um, an unspectacular time in the company he will have had. And we've also got Ace Steel versus Sean Stasiak, which is a feud that still hasn't really resolved. Even though Ace Steel's kind of doing something else in some respects. But again, I don't know if they've had 3 matches. They've certainly had a couple. So this has been going for a long time, since April the previous year. So this is how long it's been going on. So we've got Ace Steel challenge Sean Stasiak to a rematch, blah, blah, blah. So they must have had a match before this, I assume. Can't see. So there's one match. No, that was Barry Buchanan. I don't know how many matches they've had. I think it goes back further than this, but that's just how many segments the storyline can hold. So let's just have a look at this and see how many matches they've had. So Ace Steel defeated Sean Stasiak in June of last year. I think that's the only singles match they've had. Oh, and they went to a double count out 3 months before that. So the first two matches are there. So for this one, I think this should be a reasonable match. I'm going to make it 14 minutes, which is the longest on the show, and Ace Steel's going to win. I think Sean Stasiak's been performing really well. I just struggle with him. I don't know. Maybe I will have, maybe I'll have Sean Stasiak win. The reason I'm not sure who's going to win, so I've really enjoyed what we've done with Ace Steel. Like we've done the thing with Blitzkrieg where he pinned him 3 times, but in every case it was at the wrong time because Blitzkrieg was not the champion by the time they got into a singles match. But when he was champion, still beat him in tag action. Goodness me, my croaky voice is getting in my way a little bit at the moment. And in addition to that, of course, he then got his title shot finally, but it was in a triple threat match, and Rocco Rock, not him, got pinned, but they both lost all their points. So there's this kind of narrative around Ace Steel that he's getting unlucky, and I think I want to keep that going. And in this case, I'm going to have Sean Stasiak win the match. I think it's going to be. Tell you what, I'm going to do it. He's going to lose by count out. Is he going to? I don't know if he's going to lose by count out. I want him to lose in a way that's like, again, unfortunate. And I was thinking about some kind of thing where he gets caught up in the ropes or something. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go. Actually, I'm gonna go with the count out. Um, yeah, I'm going with the count out finish. So Sean Stasiak's going to win it, but it's going to be by count out. I mean, that could headline really, given how long these two have been feuding for. I think we'll bring it down below the tag team main event. I think that's fair. And after the Ace Steel match, we're gonna have Ace Steel hungry at. No, I haven't. I'm aware I haven't finished booking that angle. David Hogg, who is the referee, of course, who's going to be not rated because I don't think that's fair. Basically, Ace Steel is going. He's going to argue what just happened. I'll explain what just happened in a moment. Uh, don't need that to be long. So we won't be penalised. I think. Oh no, I didn't want that to happen. No, that's fine. Uh, just look at this. Yeah, well, that's because of no announcers. There's nobody left who we aren't using, so we're using all 16 of our wrestlers in this show as well. And yeah, and that's the show. We're going to make sure we've got all of our storylines properly lined up. So Sean Stasiak and Ace Steel should continue, obviously, until the end of this match. This is the end of this feud, finally. James Storm and Kid Chaos continue, I think, for the moment. Ekman and Bruce Hart obviously continues. Charlie Haas versus C.W. Anderson continues. And these two are still battling one another. So, when you think about it, who have we got left? Buddy Wayne, Batista, David Hogan, Dwayne Johnson. I'm tempted to just put Buddy Wayne and Dave Batista in a feud. Not that, I've got anything specific for this, and it's not particularly personal, but Buddy Wayne's right at the top of the rankings, so he's likely to get a title shot soon. They're not in any other storyline with each other, and they're facing one another on this show in tag team action. It just feels like a very easy, quick win, where we get maybe a little bit more heat for the matches that are likely going to involve them. So Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do. Okay, so here we go then. This is the show, the final show for Dwayne Johnson and the final show for the Public Enemy. Let's just check we've booked that correctly because this is quite a big deal. Okay then. And the crowd is 91 people, which I think is the same as last month. If not one more higher. Was it 90 last month? I guess it doesn't matter. In this one, about that had good heat and decent wrestling. Barry Buchanan defeated Dwayne Johnson in 9:42 by pinfall with an axe kick. Big victory for Barry Buchanan and an in-ring performance of 30. That's not bad at all for him. Dwayne Johnson at 31, not as good as last month. Not that we're too concerned about him progressing because obviously he's going to be going. It was a shame to lose him because he instantly looked like a good performer, but unfortunately, that's just the way the game goes. Segment rating of 32, though, a very good match between these two. And as I said, it is a shame to see Dwayne Johnson go. And then the tag team match is not particularly good. In fact, Buddy Wayne sustained a hand contusion during this one, which apparently took a big toll. I mean, a hand contusion is just a cut on your hand, right? Like, I don't think there's anything more serious than that. I mean, I guess we'll find out after the show. But anyway, Batista and James Storm win when Storm pins Kid Chaos. James Storm had a 31, Batista a 31, but Kid Chaos and Buddy Wayne an 18 and a 22. So the heels far, far better in this one. Both Storm and Batista actually impressed in terms of their performance. Both storylines have advanced. Well, Buddy Wayne, Dave Batista has started with this one, and Kid Curse was off his game as well, so it didn't have a lot going for it this match. So I'm quite glad I didn't even think about putting this in the main event slot because it probably could have been put in the main event slot on this show because there are lots of matches that could have filled that position. I feel, but anyway, 22 rated match. We move on. Then we have after the match, Dave Batista and James Storm. Dave Batista says to the audience that tonight was just a tryout for what they're going to do as a tag team. He wanted to see if it worked. But if James Storm is game, then they will together be entering the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza next month. And James Storm shakes his hand. Batista and James Storm as a team have formed. A segment rating here of 33. Apparently, Batista was terrible with no script to follow, and his dialogue was a mess. But James Storm did a masterful job of improvising interaction with the crowd. So, anyway, decent rating for this segment. So then, C.W. Anderson versus Charlie Haas in the latest of their matches, and it really wasn't very good at all. C.W. Anderson had an in-ring performance of 25, Charlie Haas a 20. Charlie Haas gets the victory in 13:23 by submission. It's lost heat in terms of their feud, and the bout dragged in the middle with a lack of flow being noticeable. So I don't know what that's down to. This was much, much lower than I'd hoped for and expected, so never mind. But that's it's not the end of their feud. But I've got there's something else that's going to happen in the not too distant future with these two. Then we have the grudge match between Keith Hart and ECMO, and look at the in-ring performance of Keith Hart at 10. So maybe that kind of gives us some indication of how much we should use Keith Hart going forward, and it'll be very interesting to see whether Bruce Hart can perform any better than that. ECMO had a 28, so thankfully he was in good form. ECMO got intentionally disqualified here, and as I said before, this is not really an intentional disqualification. It's not like that's what ECMO wants. He just doesn't care if he gets disqualified. He jumps out of the ring after about 8 minutes, grabs a steel chair, and right in front of the referee, cracks Keith Hart over the head with it. A segment rating of 22, Keith Hart gets the victory in this one. Then straight after, ECMO continues to attack Keith Hart until Bruce runs to the ring and ECMO has to run off and backs away from the brothers. A segment rating here of 16. And yeah, at the moment, this feud, is not going amazingly well. But having said all that, we did have the issue of the fact that this was sort of our way out or our way of booking around the fact that Blitzkrieg left the company. So I'm not overly concerned about the lack of quality here, and another reason why I didn't put those two in the main event. And then we have Ace Steel versus Sean Stasiak in a very decent match indeed. Sean Stasiak wins in 13:41 by countout. Ace Steel had an in-ring performance of 30, Sean Stasiak at 32, and actually, honestly, Stasiak won this match as a reward for his performances, because he's definitely one of the highest performing wrestlers in the company. I was originally going to have Ace Steel win it, but I think if he'd have been against another babyface, he might very well have done. But I just felt like actually Stasiak deserved it. So in order to have Ace Steel lose, what happens here is that he gets effectively into an argument with a fan on the outside. Whilst this is going on, Sean Stasiak kind of just stands back, sort of interacts with the crowd and says, "Look, I'm just going to let him get counted out." The referee does count him out, and then when Ace Steel finally stops arguing, he realizes he's been counted out, and he then in the next segment has a go at the referee David Hogg, telling him like it's not fair. It was the fan's fault. He'd been distracted by the fan, and now he's lost the match. And that's basically the idea behind this. There's no storyline element coming out of this, and this was the way also to kind of divert Ace Steel away from Sean Stasiak. They've been in a feud for a long time. This was the blow off to their feud. Not exactly the most explosive way to finish a feud, but I feel like both men are on to other things that when this feud started, they weren't really in a particularly exciting position, but they're now on to bigger things, I think, both of them in different directions. And then the main event for the tag team titles, we have new tag team champions. Bad Crew defeat Public Enemy in 9:33. When Dog pins Rocco Rock, Bad Crew win the RWR Northwest tag team titles. A segment rating here of 29. Johnny Grunge at 28, Rocco Rock at 34. Such a shame to be losing Rocco Rock. He's, again, one of our best performers. But that's what happens, right? We're a small company. Other bigger companies come in and take our best talent from us. It's that simple. I think Rose and Dog had their best performance in the ring in this one, a 21 apiece. Rocco Rock seemed off his game, but that didn't affect the rating too much. A 29 rated segment here, and the Bad Crew are tag team champions. This was obviously Rocco Rock's last performance for the company, but we haven't referenced it on the show for the crowds, which might play into what I'm going to do with Johnny Grunge next. And that is the show. An overall rating of 29. I'm pretty happy with that because this was one show where I knew I didn't want a title match to take place on, so we didn't have that kind of showpiece attraction. We did have the tag team titles though up for grabs, but I've not been confident of Bad Crew to be able to deliver, in a main event style match before. But I decided today was the time to put that to the test, and they did deliver. I think a 29 is not bad at all. We had two better matches on the show though. Barry Buchanan versus Dwayne Johnson, and Sean Stasiak against Ace Steel were both better. And in line with that, Sean Stasiak's going to be complimented. So is Barry Buchanan. And I think I've got to give Dave Batista again another compliment. He's been pretty damn good for us since he becoming our champion. And though his own in-ring performances haven't been amazing, it's not impacted the matches that he's been in terms of their quality, which is all you can ask for, really. So Buddy Wayne's been injured. We'll have a look at the extent to that problem in a minute. Um, Yeah, so he's on an exclusive written contract, Rocky Movies. So there's no way I could have kept him. Let's have a look at this injury. I mean, it's just a cut, right? Yeah, 4 days. It's a cut on his hand, and yeah, it massively impacted his in-ring performance. Again, maybe that's an issue with the way the injuries are built into the game that they don't really like. The game can't differentiate between what that would stop them from doing and what it wouldn't stop them from doing, but whatever, doesn't matter. That show was fourth best of all time. And in terms of our matches, we did have from that one, the count out between Stasiak and Ace Steel was up there. And so was Barry Buchanan versus Dwayne Johnson, also in our top 10 of all time. So both really good. I bet the tag team title match wasn't too far down. In fact, it was 11th best match. So that was all right. That wasn't bad. That didn't go badly at all. We've also now grown to 8 popularity in the Northwest, so another little notch up for us as well, which is really good news. In terms of the titles, obviously the Northwest Tag Teams titles are now on their second holders. Dog and Rose, Bad Crew have taken the title, a team that I didn't imagine would do that in the end, but they have done. And sometimes being lucky is more profitable than being good. And in this situation, it's definitely proven to be the case. So as we're going to proceed to the end of the current month. Um, this just gives me a little bit of time, first of all, to say, thanks for watching us today and please give me a like, give us a subscribe. Um, I've also got to say that next time, or before the next event, we're going to have to bring in another two wrestlers because obviously we've lost Dwayne Johnson, we've lost Rocco Rock again, two baby faces. We must be running quite low on baby faces because we also turned ECMO not long ago. So we've got Keith Hart, we've got um, who else have we got? We've got Johnny Grunge, we've got Sean Stasiak, and we've got Buddy Wayne and Kid Chaos. So we've still got five somehow, even though we're losing two faces. Maybe we had more faces than we had heels briefly there. I don't know. Bit confused. Anyway, you know, we've got to figure out who's going to replace them. Actually, I say we've got to figure that out. I already did because I've already written up in my notes the brackets for the summer spectacular tag team extravaganza, and I'm going to bring in two people that are going to team together in that tournament. Plus, we've already got uh, Ethan Broussard, and Broussard I haven't really included as part of the roster up to this point. So I feel like I'm missing somebody else now in my notes, which is a concern. It might be that I'm missing Johnny Grunge. I am missing Johnny Grunge. So I think that's fine though. I think Johnny Grunge can. All right, I got an idea for how we're going to do that. Okay, I hadn't I knew that I was going to have it so that Johnny Grunge, basically his story is going to be that Rocco Rock has just abandoned him. That's going to be his story. But I hadn't really thought about how I was going to make that clear before now. But I think given that I've got 8 teams in my mind for what's coming next, and I'd left Johnny Grunge out of it without even thinking about it, now I've got a way of just having basically Johnny Grunge come out at the beginning of night one of the tournament and saying that he and Rocco Rock were going to participate in the tournament, but Rocco Rock has not contacted him since they lost the tag team titles, and he understands that Rocco Rock's gone to work somewhere else, and so he's not going to be in the tournament either. So a couple of news stories here of interest, I guess, right off the bat. We've got rumor has it that top WCW star Hulk Hogan has been offered a new contract extension and is set to sign within the next 2 or 3 days. And Ric Flair apparently also in the same boat. Bash at the Beach, always interesting. Rey Mysterio Jr. defeats Ric Flair to retain the World Heavyweight title in a 99 rated match. And not only that, but a triple threat match underneath with Hulk Hogan defeating Arn Anderson and Scott Hall. So two 99 rated matches in a row at the top of this show. That is very, very good indeed. You would think that WCW are sort of doing very well in terms of up against, in the company wars scheme of things. I mean, they're both large companies, so there can't be huge amounts between them. Is there? Is there? What am I thinking of? Are there battles at that level? I mean, there must be battles, right? Um, so regional battles. Okay, so I'm trying not to worry about kind of that at the moment. Um, oh, sure. So we're included in this just because it's fun. So yeah, the battle between the two is so close. WWF 1992, WCW 91. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Paul White, and Diesel against Scott Hall, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, and Sting. So it's very close between the two there. And I bet you, in terms of size, they're not that much difference either. So this is kind of like the equivalent of the Monday Night War at the moment. So WWF have got 94s and 93s in America all across the board. In WCW, oh, press the wrong button. Oh, everything's taking longer because I don't know why. Anyway, oh no, significantly smaller WCW, but they are putting on better shows at the moment. So it's kind of understandable. Head booker position of UWA. This is all very serious, isn't it? We got the Antonio Pena has been removed as CEO of UWA, which is Rocky Maivia leaving everywhere, and Buddy Wayne's fully fit, of course, from Rocco Rock leaves. So a flurry of news activity, none of them massively important to us at this point, as we knew about the ones that affected us. But yeah, we've got the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza Day 1, hopefully Day 2 as well, in the next episode to cover. Thank you very much for joining us today, and until next time, we'll catch you then.